So let's wrap up the podcast with our pinnacle of Filmical.
Yes.
We are, again, running through the top 100 movies of all time. This week, we have number 88, which is?
The Oceanic Adventure, The Sting.
What year did it come out?
Oh, sorry. It's a comedy, drama, comedy.
Why are you yelling?
I know. Why do you shout?
The 1973 film, The Sting.
The Sting, starring Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Yes.
This movie came out, 1973, you said?
I literally just said
Okay,
that.
sorry,
Yes.
1973. Now, it takes place in the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
It is about grifters and people who are con men. Very Ocean's 11 type thing. That's kind of the vibe
Brad
of this
Pitt's
movie.
in it.
No, well, you
Brad
said
Pitt is
Robert
not
Redford
in it.
looks like Brad Pitt in this
No.
movie.
David agrees with me.
He does. He's a classically good looking guy. I'll say that.
Well,
he's
I
got
didn't say that.
he's got the sharp jawline. Now Robert Redford's kind of known as like the sex symbol back in the day, but
Really?
this yeah, definitely. I think he was in Romancing the Stone. I believe
Not
that
one
was
of my
I think
good
it was him.
boyfriends.
yeah, that's the one big one that he's in, I think. He was also in Captain America, so the second one, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's about these two characters who are basically working on this big con. Basically, think of like they're trying to work over this really, really rich jerk guy. So it's that movie where you're
It's
rooting.
kind of like a crime boss.
Yeah, you're rooting for the bad guys. This is the
Yeah, you're like, go, steal
from that guy. Yeah. But the movie is it takes place in the 19 again. I think it's like
The
1936. So it's got this post-depression, grifters. Like when we think of
That's
like
how you get by.
yeah, that's how you get by. You do cons and you trick people, and like the movie is very clever in that, and like it does some really interesting stuff with like there's some little cons before the big con. The characters are interesting, but I don't know much more because the problem is the whole movie's about this one big con, so I can't tell you anything until we get to spoiler town. If people will review it. Now you didn't see it, right?
I just saw the last 10 minutes.
Which
of it.
kind
That
of
we
ruins
just
it.
watched here, yeah.
But I know you're a huge fan of Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 26. Well, how many did they go?
I'll watch Ocean's 8. The all-female
girl
cast.
one, yeah.
I'll
Is
watch
that coming
it.
out soon?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, we're going to review this one. It's on a curve again, so thumbs up is like amazing movie, should be higher, or it's perfectly where it's at. Thumbs aside, good movie. I don't know if it should be top 100, and then maybe less, somewhere in and then thumbs down is like this shouldn't be anywhere near the top 100. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, thumbs to the side
For both of us. Yeah.
This movie's a good movie.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
fantastic movie. I love, again, I'm always a timepiece kind of guy. I love the movies that are set. By the way, we like the Roaring 20s, right? We have the 30s, which is like the Depression, post-Depression, New Deal. Then you have the 50s. No one ever talks about the 40s. What happened in the 40s?
Sarah talks
War?
about the 40s all the time.
What
Yeah.
happened in the 40s?
War? I mean, people
Death?
were broke.
Well, I guess maybe that's why we don't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
Prosperity came around in the 50s for some people.
Exactly. That
And
post-war.
60s, 70s, 80s, drugs, and then we got 90s, the internet.
That's
Done.
it.
The
And
Matrix.
done.
Yeah.
So anyways, the reason why I give this movie a thumb to the side is because it is a good movie. It's fun, but the movie takes entirely too long to get to its fun part. And
And the fun part is the last 15 minutes of the movie,
Right,
honestly,
is
where
to-
everything wraps up and
right.
you see the con happen.
yeah, this movie takes too long to set up. The movie, and that is part of the movie, is like they actually do these transitions where it's like
The setup.
Yeah, the setup, the con,
The wire.
Yeah, like it's all like it's very simple. The movie, the characters are very enjoyable and lovable, and Paul Newman and Robert Redford are just.
I
They're
thought
awesome.
that was Paul Newman. I was like, I think I've seen
No,
that guy.
he-
That poker scene?
on
Yeah,
Paul
a
Newman
pasta
stuff?
jar.
Huh?
I think I've seen that guy like on a pasta.
Yeah,
jar.
you have. You have.
Or salad dressing or something.
No, he became like a big philanthropist.
Philanthropist,
Yeah,
yeah.
big time. They have Numinos, which are like Oreos, but they're Paul Newman. Anyways, and all the money goes to
I want
charity.
Geraldo's. Oh, maybe in the future.
Anyway, they like I said, the only reason I didn't enjoy the movie is just it takes too long. It takes too long to get where it needs to get. And like the fun part about these movies is seeing what's that called? Rube contraption? What are they called? Is that what it's called?
Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, so it's like you set the pinball and you watch it, and that's the fun part. Not the setting up of all the dominoes or all the things. Like that's the boring part. Get
Right.
to it. And there are smaller moments of there's a couple
Like the poker scene that
Yeah.
kind of helps a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of sets the stage a little bit, like something's happening.
Yeah, but
Right.
the rest of the movie is like getting the bad guy to like fall for the trap, and it's just like, come on, man, get on with it. I don't know if this tilts more thumbs down because there are moments.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because like top 100, like no, like maybe because this was the first of its kind where like we rooted for the bad guy. And
Was
that,
it though?
I don't. It can't. I don't know. But I will say the movie. One thing about the movie is it feels empty. Does that make sense? Like there it takes place in like I think it's New York, in 1930s. But the movie just feels entirely like it's on a movie studio lot and it's empty.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's
definitely.
yeah, there's like the city doesn't
Not
feel
a
like
lot of locations.
yeah, and there's not this livable city. And like I like movies that have a timepiece, but I want to see that timepiece. Like there's
zoom out on the city or something.
yeah, and like there are moments where it shows like the backdrop of the city, but it feels like a movie studio, hardcore movie studio, because there's not a bunch of extras walking around. It's
This
like
is so I only saw the last 10 minutes of
Yeah.
the movie. I did try to watch that trailer with you that you were watching the other day about
Yeah,
it.
it was like a 5-minute trailer giving away the whole movie. I'm like, I don't want to watch
Yeah.
this.
yeah.
So, but it to me, it just those are I kind of get a kick out of because with the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them,
Yeah.
that was set in 1920s New York,
But
kind
it
of,
looked
and it looked legit. Like you definitely could feel it. Like
It's hard
Hard to compare there.
Well,
Come
no,
on
but
now.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like it to me, it's fun to see different decades and their take on different decades.
right.
Yeah.
Like
that's
our
true.
take now as 2016 on the 30s would be completely different
Right.
than the 1970s take on the 1930s.
Agreed.
That's true.
And kind of like the same like 1960s takes on the
Mm-hmm.
1920s. Like to me, it's fun to see. It's
Their
ju- it's
perception of
just,
the
yeah,
generations.
exactly.
We talk about
so-
that like with like the different decades perception of the future too. It's always interesting, like 1940s future versus like 1980s.
Yeah.
Totally different. Like
Yeah.
light cycles versus like a microwave
Yeah.
where you put food in and it cooks it.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, the movie is enjoyable to watch, but for me, this almost needs to be pulled off the list because I can think of other movies that are not on this list that should be.
It really didn't seem that interesting.
It, like I said, it's
Definitely interesting. It's just I wish it didn't wrap. One, it wraps up way too quickly.
yeah, for how long the setup is, it wraps up.
Yep.
Done.
Like I said, you watch the last 10 minutes. That was the whole movie is building up to 10 minutes. The last
Yeah.
10 minutes. Of the
And
movie.
maybe that's what they were going for is like that rubber band, like let it snap. But it's just like for me, like maybe it's I'm busier, I don't know. It's first of all, we joked about this song, The Entertainer. That
Yeah.
song is played like throughout the whole movie.
So he's running from the cops. Let's play the entertainer.
Yeah. It's just it's
I got some notes here, David.
yeah. What do you got?
I was live noting. Is that a thing? Is it live tweeting?
No,
live noting.
Yeah.
While
No
I
one
was watching
follows you.
today. Redford equals Brad Pitt. I did put that on the top. I already mentioned that.
Yes.
I said, damn, those hard N-words. I forgot that we're watching a movie set in the 30s.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. It's always like a culture shock. She's like, whoa.
You're not allowed to say
I need
that.
to turn down my volume so that my
Yeah.
neighbors don't hear this
Yeah.
word.
There's definitely some like stuff that's not acceptable now.
Yeah, we got neighbors. Anyway, I said, haha, Redford's face when Newman messes up the shuffle. Remember where he's like practicing shuffling? He's just like,
Yeah.
obviously, if you're watching the YouTube
Yeah.
video, you can see.
He makes
but
us
like
like,
his face,
"Ugh."
I was just bawling laughing. That was pretty funny. So many sick mustaches.
Yeah. Some awesome,
So jealous.
some
So many sick
sweet
mustaches.
30s mustache.
Yeah, I said, wow, it's really easy to cheat at poker. And I don't know how he did it. So like, there's this climactic like poker scene in the middle where like that mobster guy is playing against Paul Newman's character, and the mobster guy fixed the deck, and he knows what Paul Newman has. It's a 4 of a kind but 3s, but the mobster guy has a 4 of a kind of 9s, and then
And if you had a 4 of a kind in any poker game, you go all in because the odds of somebody else having a better 4 of a kind are like slim to none, and that's the point, to try to sucker you into betting all your money.
So he put like he goes all in. It's like I got 4 9s, and then because it keeps showing you he's got 4 3s. So you're like, oh, what is he gonna do? Puts it down, 4 jacks.
yeah, and you're like, oh, how do you do it? Yeah, I know. Well, they're grifters, bro.
No, I
They're
know.
like superpowers.
But they're like the mob guy's guy, like
Standing
number
right there.
like the right hand was like right behind him. Was like he's got the 3s. I can see them, and then like no, he's got jacks. Like
That's
I guess he's a magician.
he's David Blaine, bro.
Yeah, it's like can't you see his hands?
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he's like shifting the cards under the table. It's like, dude, there's a guy right next to you.
Yeah.
He could see that.
but that's the suspense of the movie.
Yeah, I guess that's suspense. There's a part where Redford to the FBI agent
Mm-hmm.
was like, "You stink," as like an insult. I was like, "Whoa,
He's like, you stink, buddy.
so mean."
Yeah, I know. There's a
You
couple scenes in
stink.
here that are like violent scenes, and it's like almost to the point where it's obviously fake, but it's done so like
Like what?
there's a gunshot scene, and then there's some fight scenes where it's done in such a way where it's like it's clearly like cheesy fake, but it's done in such a like brutal way that it's like comes off as like taken aback.
Oh, like when the guy got shot in the alleyway.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I
just
thought
like-
that was weird too.
I was just like, ah,
And just like for the whole tone of the movie, and
Yeah,
then all of a
they,
sudden,
yeah, and like they zoom in real close on the shot, and you're like, this doesn't. What are you doing? This
Yeah.
isn't like I know you said The
Gushing
Wire.
blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like doesn't fit. Like I said, I have more.
that scene did.
yeah, there's more
definitely take me out of the
negatives.
movie.
There are some interesting twists in this movie, but
Or like-
let's start spoiling it if you want to.
Oh, I
just-
already spoiled it.
I know you did, but that's why it doesn't really matter. It's a 1973 classic.
Yeah.
But
A couple of things too. I did say so. They're setting up this big con, right? Which is a pretty much like a horse betting room. So they're setting up all these things and stuff, and they're interviewing people. Be like, oh, you can do this role, you can do this role, and like by the end of it, we have like 100 people that are in on this.
That's what I was wondering. Is the money worth what they paid to set
Well, it's
this up?
$500,000 in the 30s.
Yeah, in the 30s, and during
so
Great
they'd have been
Depression.
like, oh, just a buck here, just a
Yeah,
buck
and they would have
there.
like, oh,
$20.
I'm gonna buy a business.
But
Like,
one, I'm like, okay, so this is a con, and the people coming in that are like, I guess interviewing, are like there's one of them that's Robert Redford's buddies. He's like, oh, I know him. It's like, oh, okay, have you ever conned? No. Okay, well, have you ever done this before? No. Do you know anything about the? No, I don't know anything about a wire. You're hired.
well, because there's this one of the guys. So there's like this crew of 3 people that are working together at the beginning of the con, and one of them they end up getting caught, and then the guy that they stole the money from is this mob boss that at the end they try to con, but he gets mad and kills. Instead of like in retaliation, like he has this mentality of like, if anybody crosses me, I don't care for how little amount of money, we kill them, so that nobody crosses me, right?
Yeah.
It's this
we can't let
zero
that get
tolerance
around that I allow that,
right, zero tolerance. So he kills one of his buddies. So both of these remaining characters are just trying to do it as like avenge their friend. And so that part is interesting where they like let him in because he knows something. But he's like, yeah, I know you're doing this for your buddy. I'll let you do it.
So that was kind of a stretch. I'm like, oh, I get it. He's his buddy. Word about. But the other thing too is like they have 100 people. How does this not get out? How do they trust one?
Because they're grifters, bro.
There's 100 grifters.
This
Honor
is
among
like
thieves.
There's a clan.
Gerald, they don't have to tweet about it. They don't put it on their
Good point.
Facebook.
You just talk to your
easier.
neighbors.
And you just trust everybody.
There's another part about this movie that's equally like blows a hole in the plot for me. Sometimes like there's the cops are following Robert Redford because of his conning previously, and then you have the mob boss characters following him as well. And like he goes to the same places over and over
all the time, like
and
the
it's
diner
like,
and
yeah,
stuff.
and it's
right?
like, and you see the cop will see him in this diner and then chase him away, and then like doesn't go back to the diner the next day where Robert Redford goes.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, the cop is like the worst
come
cop
on.
ever. Like first, like I was like, oh, this cop is freaking badass. Like he's like throwing that guy's head on the table and stuff. And then like Robert Redford next he just runs away from him.
Yeah,
the entertainment scene.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is like in one scene he's like a really good cop. The next scene he's a terrible cop.
Like I said, the movie it's a fun movie, but it takes too long to become fun.
The setup is too long.
Which is what the whole movie's about, is the setup. But the setup has to have little payoffs, like Ocean's 11, right? It has a big setup at the end, right? But in between, there's like little problems that occur. There's not as many little problems in this movie. There are small problems. Like there's a part where the mob boss doesn't trust Robert Redford's character because he's the one that's working the con on the inside, right? And he's like, oh, well, I need to see your partner. So they did this little con where like he's like, my buddy's a guy at the Western Union and he tells me the answers to the racehorse tracks and then sends them out to the bookies. So he tells me first, so I already know who the winners are, so I'll bet on those before the results come to the bookies, so I'll always win. Right. And he's like, I want to see your partner at the Western Union. So then they do this thing where these guys come in and they're like, hey, we have a painting order for the guy who runs the Western Union. And he's like, oh, I guess my general manager signed it. So yeah, go ahead and paint. And they're like, oh, well, you can't stay in here. We got to put tarps over everything. We're going to get paint all over it. He's like, all right, how long is it going to take? They're like an hour or two. And so they get him out of the room. They open up the back door and the other guy takes off the paint suit and he has a nice suit. They change out the photo of his family photo to a picture of him and his family. And then they come through the back door and he's like, hey man, you can't be here. What are you doing here? Like, I told you not to come here. I know where. So it seems like so I guess there are little moments, but there's not enough of those little tiny moments within the big setup that make the movie enjoyable throughout. The tension is, the setup is too long. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and the place where Paul Newman is at, where he goes, and he's like obviously this expert grifter, whatever.
Yeah.
And he works with the girl. Is her name Billy?
Yeah.
What's her name? And is it like a brothel?
Yeah, it's like a brothel.
Why is there a carousel in the middle of the brothel?
Just to make I think it's just
like a full-size Disneyland carousel.
That's why the movie feels like a movie set studio. There are sets.
We couldn't get this carousel off the set, so I guess it's part of the movie.
Well, it's also funny too. She's because she runs a brothel. She's like the madam of the brothel or whatever, and she's like, "It's not a busy night. Can I turn on the?
Yeah, can I let the girls
ride
sure.
their carousel?" And like the next scene is like a bunch of like girls in like
lingerie and stuff, right?
Like woo! And I'm like, Alyssa's like, "Why would they be doing that?" And I was like, "It's the 30s and depression. Like a merry-go-round is very upbeat and happy to be on. It's just
I'm sure some dudes are into that.
But I'm like, why is it there?
Yeah, it was weird.
If I walked into a brothel and there was just giant carousel, I'd be like, what is this?
This is like a creepy
you
clown
would never
brothel.
walk into a brothel. You'd be like, this is gross.
Well, I don't know that. Anyway, other than that, I did say it feels like it's over so fast, like I mentioned before. It feels like the payoff is not enough to warrant the hour and 15 minutes or whatever, 45 minutes to get through it.
So I would say watch it if you like those kind of movies, but strap in. That's all it would take. Because it's 2 hours and 9 minutes. Like, it's a long movie.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've
And it
noticed. Like,
feels long.
yeah, it feels long. There are moments where get on.
That's what she
with-
said.
Yeah. All right, so that's number 88. What do we got next week?
That is a good question, David.
Number
I wish
87,
I had
it is-
the browser
it's-
window up.
No,
when
we
you
have
said
Stanley
that.
Kubrick.
Yes, we're back to Stanley Kubrick at the 1987 Full Metal Jacket. It's a war drama.
Yes. Have you seen this?
What?
Please
Yes,
tell me you've
a
seen it.
long time ago.
Oh, well, you know the intro. The
Yeah.
drill sergeant intro is what
Of
everyone knows.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie is fantastic. So we'll get to that next week. If you have not seen Full Metal Jacket, go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Then pay attention. Read along with us. Watch along with us. Not read along. What's wrong with me?
I was gonna say starring a creepy Vincent D'Onofrio, but he's creepy in like everything.
Yeah,
so
it's not-
starring normal Vincent D'Onofrio. Right?
Edgar, more sugar, water.
Why do you always go there? When
Because
you
that's
think,
my favorite Vincent D'Onofrio
I just think when he's
character.
the weirdo in like that Jennifer Lopez. I don't know why that's the movie I go to. When he's like that creepy serial killer. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
The Cell?
Yeah,
the
The
Cell.
Cell.
Go watch The Cell. That's a creepy Vincent
Yeah,
D'Onofrio
exactly.
movie.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah,
But as always, you can, of course, shoot us an email too.
sitdownstandard@gmail.com.
Tell us what you thought about The Sting. If we're wrong, let us know on the YouTube comments. But before we wrap up, I want to let everybody know this is, again, week 3 of our wave 3 of our prizes for
of
our...
question mark.
Right? Yeah.
Are
Well,
do we have an end?
I think week 5. We'll go 5 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks. Depends on what happens. Might give more prizes away. But we have our 2016
Second annual.
second annual holiday giveaway, Toys for Tots holiday giveaway. To participate to win a whole bunch of prizes, and we'll put links into the old video so you can see what we gave away before. You
All
just
cool
don't.
stuff. All
Yeah,
cool stuff.
exactly. You just donate $5 to toysfortots.org/donate, at least $5.
At least.
Snap a photo of your donation, post it to Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter with hashtag
pound sign SDS giveaway.
SDS giveaway. Or if you don't want to do any of that social media nonsense, you can just shoot us
Mumbo
a,
jumbo.
you can send us an email too.
Sitdownstandard@gmail.com with your picture showing your donation.
Yep, and that'll
you'll
put
be
you
entered to
win.
To
Two
win.
win all the awesome things.
exactly 2 limitations. Got to be a resident of the contiguous United States. Mike,
You're not gonna
there you
forget
go,
that now, right?
Mike.
Yeah.
As well as you have to 1 entry per person. You have till the end of this year, December 31st at 12 Pacific Standard Time.
Or 11:59.
11:59 PST. And we will announce the winners on our January 2nd. Again, we want to thank all the people that donated this week, Thames and Cosmos for their bundle. We want to thank Heart Machine Games for donating 3 copies of Hyperlight Drifter. We want to thank also Brotherwise Games for donating their bundle, the Brotherwise Games bundle. Go to all their websites. Amazing, great stuff. Check out
Click all
the-
these links. David will put them all up wherever I point.
No,
Go
I will
check
not.
out all these cool
No, I
prizes.
will not. All right. Until next time. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Oh, double goodbye.